Federico, it has been 6 months since our last interview from January 19th. I mean, I don't know why you didn't message me to say, Rockus, let's do the follow up. And when I checked how long it has been, I was so surprised because time just flew by. So yeah, instead of doing an interview every 3 months, we kind of skipped one part of it, and now it's 6 months later. So I'm sure so much has happened to you because of the trajectory that you've been on. So I mean, let's get straight into it. What comes to
Mhm.
mind as for changes in the past 6 months?
Well, what comes to mind? First of all, thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure to meet you again, bro. And yeah, what has happened? A lot of that,
Let
obviously.
me
And
okay. Let me give you a prompt real quick. So, from January 19th, in that interview, you said you were making 10,000 per month. You had recently dropped out of university and moved into Thailand with quote unquote brothers. At that point, they were your brothers that you had met from the real world because you're all doing copywriting. So that's what I remember from then. So, from that point, how has everything changed?
so, yeah, in our last interview, I was as you know, in Thailand with my bros. I just dropped out of university and I decided, fuck it. Let's just go to Thailand, live with my bros that I met in the real world and conquer Earth together. And yeah, now we're doing exactly that, world conquest. And I think I left you with that mark. I said that I finally reached the 10K threshold, and now yeah, we can multiply that number by 2 and 4, yeah, and that's the range of what I'm earning right now. So definitely progress happened, and this is only the beginning, my friend.
Good, good. Okay, so monetarily, are you still doing copywriting? Has it developed into something else between you?
Well, the thing is, what I really like about the real world is that you get to choose one campus in the beginning. But what essentially the real world is teaching you is how to sell stuff, either selling through words or through video or selling your skills or selling anything. It's just teaching you how to sell. That is the skill, because any schmuck can, know how to program a website or whatever. Anyone can do that, right? Can just learn, go through a tutorial and great. But in order to sell something, in order to sell yourself, sell your skills, know how to talk to people, know how to reach out to people, etc. There's a whole universe that you need to discover, and that is what the real world teaches you. So, as I was saying, I started with a copywriting campus, and I learned a lot about marketing, and more specifically, I think I started with my skills in the beginning, mostly a little bit of writing, obviously English, knowing how to speak in English, etc. And the real world just like directed all the basic knowledge I had about sales and marketing, and also the other skills about writing, etc. And it gave more fuel, gave me more tools, etc. And then I landed my first client and started making money, and it was through copywriting, writing copy. You see, the skill I have is not just writing stuff. I also know how to do other things. Like I know how to edit videos. I know it will sound kind of cheesy, but I know also how to talk to people and motivate them and gather them and give them a specific task and make them work really hard and get in the trenches with them, etc. I have other skills as well, not just writing copy. So eventually, instead of just learning how to sell words, sell maybe products for other clients, I also learned how to build a team, motivate a team, and conquer Earth together. So that is what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm dealing with a business, an actual business. I'm not a freelancer anymore. And yeah, so this is what I do. I just used the skill I had. I just used the knowledge I had about selling, etc., and applied it everywhere. For example, hiring and recruiting people to some degree is selling, because you still need to inform and educate people on what they are enlisting to, right? What they're about to participate. in. So sales is still required. You cannot be just, oh yeah, do this, do that, blah blah. Like it doesn't work like that. Do you think that Elon Musk treat his like most brilliant engineers, most brilliant new entries like that way? Of course not. It's all sales and marketing, even hiring, everything from top to bottom is sales and marketing. So it is quite interesting that it all started with copywriting and now it's expanding more and more on more different things on all the aspects and facets that make a business.
Hmm. And so you're saying all of you who live together have made a business together. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And it specializes in what, that business?
Yeah, it's a marketing firm, and what I like to say is we specialize in making people way more money. That's what we do in a
The best
nutshell.
slogan.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so in terms of clients, what can you reveal? What kind of clients are you working with?
Of course, there are some people, obviously, because I want to tease you guys. Of course, there's some people I cannot talk about. I'm sorry, NDAs, etc. But there is a couple of very interesting people I'm working with that I can disclose. Probably not directly, but I can tell who they are and what they do.
Hmm.
And one of my business partners, I wouldn't call them clients, but business partners, because we have a stake in their company, is the Shaolin Temple, Shaolin monks. And I'm not saying like random Shaolin monks. No, I literally mean the Shaolin Temple in China, like the Shaolin Temple. Yes, yes, you guessed it, the Shaolin Temple, and that is our business partner. And it's a funny story, but it's life, it's work, and it's incredibly interesting. Yeah,
And you say stake in that company as well. I didn't even know that was a
yeah.
thing. So how did you get so deeply involved?
Well, it all started first, of course. We did some gigs for them, we did some projects for them, and eventually we just showed. And this is part of the thing I said in the very beginning about selling. And selling isn't about tricking anybody into anything, it's about educating them, showing them a vision, and just making them understand what you're trying to say. And in this case, what I was trying to say is that we truly believe in their vision, we truly believe in what they're about to build, and we're all for it. So why not like have a stake on it and actually have also be have an extra incentive to perform as good as possible? Because if we actually have a stake in that company, then we need to perform. We need to do an excellent job, and that is what we do. So yeah, that's why, because we truly believe in this vision, in this mission, and we understand that this is quite a unique position, and we couldn't say no to that because we truly believe that we will conquer the world with this brand, with only this brand. And we a very, very fun thing to do. So we say, yeah, guys, let's go. Of course, we had contracts, etc. So it's not like we're married forever, but potentially, yeah, virtually, yeah, hopefully, yeah. And we will just continue to conquer Earth with kung fu and etc. That'll be pretty fun.
Best way of saying it. And it's so interesting how all of you came together from random parts of the world, all came together into one place, and now you landed the Shaolin Monk Temple as a client. That just seems so bizarre.
Yeah.
So, how much more can you reveal in terms of how much has your relationship with the Shaolin Temple developed? What have you done with them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like I believe that life is almost a simulation. Life is not real, like sometimes because I start like I look around and say I'm living in Thailand, I'm living in other G's that I really like. They're my brothers, actual brothers, etc. And what is life? What is going on? And now what happens is I go to China and live on top of a mountain with monks doing kung fu and working. And so this is just a quick recap of what happened. So it all started with us, obviously reaching out to this temple and starting with some projects, etc. And they really liked what we did. They really liked everything about, and we really also really liked working with them. It was a very pleasant experience. Most clients are tricky, and not clients, ex-clients, to be honest, but but they were very, very great to work with. It was a very interesting experience, and they were also like very like very condescending. Like they trusted us. Like they said, okay, you want to do that? Sure, makes sense. Let's discuss this, and then yeah, let's implement and go and take action. It was never like friction. There was no friction. It was always a friendly conversation and a constructive criticism. So it was a very nice thing, especially talking with monks about marketing. That's an interesting thing to do. And and yeah, so it started that way, just doing small things, small projects, making the money here, making the money there, etc. And then we decided, of course, to take we collectively decided, of course, to take a stake in the business. And yeah, and eventually we understood that in order to sell anything, of course, you need to understand it deeply. We had like a deep understanding of the product experience and brand itself, because we were talking to these people basically every day, and we studied it. Obviously, like we knew it pretty well. Like probably we knew about the Shaolin Temple. We knew more things about the Shaolin Temple than anyone on earth, probably. Like we know a lot about it. We studied it and researched a lot. However, there's still some nuance that you will never really grasp if you don't go to China, if you don't go and live in that temple. And that is exactly what we did. 1 month in China, in Chengdu, China. That's the city. And we lived in there, not even the city, actually. That's the city where the airport was located. But then we had to go through all those, those ancient roads, etc., on top of a mountain, literally, and then live in this huge compound, which is just a huge temple, and live there and do kung fu in the morning, literally, because of course, the headmaster of the temple, of course, wants us to do kung fu as well. I don't care that you're working with me. I don't care you're making me money. I don't care. I want you to do kung fu as well. Okay, okay, he's the man. So let's go. And we all are doing martial arts, so it's a very interesting experience to do also Chinese martial arts, to do sanda, which is the Chinese kickboxing, to just train with the monks, etc. Was so interesting, man. I have so many stories, and yeah, and in that was like a couple of hours a day, not too much. And for the rest of the day was work, 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 meeting, discussions, etc. with the team, the Shaolin team, etc. all the time. It was nonstop work and training. I loved it. Every minute of it was beautiful. In
Mm-hmm.
China, on top of a mountain. That's life. Crazy.
Okay, so you said there's so many stories. Could you give at least one just for a better understanding?
Bro, I have so many. Okay, where can I start? Okay, so of course, I work 24/7. I work all the time. Like my life is work. So of course the story starts with me working. So I was working and focusing on the computer on some certain task, etc., some system, blah blah. So I was like working on a computer like this, and then I hear what the I hear grunts and noises and fighting. Like I hear that. So I say, what the hell is going on? And if you're about it, like if you train in martial arts, if you just love to use your body to become an actual weapon and become stronger every day, if you do that, you cannot exist for a lot of hours, like hearing grunts, noises of fights, and also the excitement, not a negative fight, but a good fight, like sparring, etc. You cannot hear that for a while without, okay, let me see, let me just go out and see what's going on, right? So I had to go out of the room while I was working on the computer. I stand up, open the door, I go, and I see a bunch of people sitting down in a circle. And then, oh, that's interesting. Like a bunch of like students, adepts, disciples, etc. And then I also see, oh, that's the headmaster of the temple. Oh, he's fighting everybody. What the hell? So of course I sit down, and of course the headmaster knows how to fight and will fuck up everyone, and that is so cool. So I sit down, and there's literally the headmaster sparring every single student. We were like 20. He sparred every single student non-stop, like no breaks. He sparred everyone. That is insane. And I saw that. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, that was crazy. Like, the guy, basically the CEO, like the whatever of business in theory, because of Shaolin Temple, he was fighting everyone in a sparring thing. And it was crazy to see. It was like, That's so cool, man. I'm so glad that I'm here. And that's the thing, like it's so cool when you are building something, when you're working with someone and you genuinely believe in the vision, you genuinely believe in the mission, and you enjoy it so much and inspires you. Like literally, the guy I'm working with sparred 20 people nonstop. How can I not respect that guy? How can I not be excited of my job? So yeah, while I saw that and then went back. No, actually, I sparred. Actually, I sparred also with a monk. Actually, I couldn't resist. I had to spar, and I had to spar with a monk. It was they were the martial art in question was Sanda, Chinese kickboxing. So I'm I did like some Muay Thai. So I did what I used what I know to fight back, etc. It was super fun, and yeah, then I went back to work all sweaty and excited, just typing and talking to people, etc. So yeah, that's a crazy story, and I have so many more. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, so every interview we'll do, you'll give us maybe 1 to 2 stories of how it was back in the Shaolin monk days. Okay,
Sure.
I love that.
That's a
And
good one.
when you came back to Thailand, how was that experience then overall? How did that give you those unique perspectives that you wanted? Did that change anything in how you worked? Because I mean, a month in a Shaolin temple, I'm guessing surely that have some impact on mindset, maybe even some other
Uh-huh.
areas. So yeah, any
Hmm.
changes you noticed in yourself after that?
Man, I have so many things to share, and hmm. First of all, it changed a lot, and also it didn't change anything. And by that I mean that when you go to China in a remote location, you heard about China, you hear about China, you hear about these stories about the Chinese people, etc., Chinese culture, maybe Shaolin people, etc., and you paint a picture in your brain, like you imagine people doing crazy stuff, etc. People talking obviously a language that is like gibberish, you don't understand anything, and you expect even their personality, their how they behave, their mannerism, etc., to be completely different from yours, like almost like aliens, right? But after living there for a while, I realized, man, like they are literally preaching the exact same I am trying to do, I'm trying to accomplish, and I preach also to other team players and people, the people around me in general, the kind of mindset I have. For instance, I always preach the importance of perspicacity. I think we all do in the real world. Perspicacity is crucial. By perspicacity, I simply mean the ability to perceive things. Just being aware of your surroundings, being aware of what is going on all the time, not being asleep, but very awake, keeping your eyes open. And it was so intriguing to hear a monk like talk about perspicacity, like talk, yeah, you have to have kung fu eyes. Like it was translated, obviously, and and of course he called it kung fu eyes, but it was literally that same kind of value, and that is one thing. And the interesting thing is that day by day, they were literally preaching every aspect of my mindset, even professionalism. And in my mind, professionalism is not about wearing suits. As my friend Sad says, he has this joke. People think that professionalism means to sit down on a toilet with a suit, like being that obsessed with your appearance, etc. No, that's not professionalism. Maybe that's one aspect of professionalism, the looks, but that's a minor thing. The most important thing about professionalism is simply not doing mistakes, or at least not doing them twice. That is professionalism. And it's so interesting that the monk was literally preaching this exact thing and everything else that is part of my mindset. So I was mind blown by the fact that he was basically honing what I already knew and what I already was trying to perfect, right? So it was that's why I'm saying I learned nothing, but also I learned a lot of stuff, because it is basically what I already knew, but just told in a different language with different words, but it was the same thing. So it was so interesting to literally go on top of a mountain, maybe expecting to have some sort of, maybe some revelation, who knows, about, I don't know, like the Buddha or something. And instead, you what is revealed to you is that everything you're doing is right, and the guys who are at the top, the guys who are extremely disciplined and who are well known in the world for being extreme examples of discipline, the Shaolin monks. They live in kind of the same way I do in terms of their mindset. So that was a real, like, I was mind blown by that. So that really surprised me. That is one of the most important lessons I've learned, that people at the top, not in terms of wealth necessarily, but at the top in terms of the pinnacle of human discipline, etc., they're all alike. They're all the same. So that was the big thing, yeah. And it really surprised me, I have to say. It really surprised me.
Very interesting. Okay, thank you for sharing that. And
Absolutely.
I'd say that's enough of going down that rabbit hole. Look forward to speaking more about it again in future interviews. So, what
Hmm.
other things, what other developments have you had in those 6 months? Because that's just one area of it, everything you just spoke about. I'm sure there's been so many more.
Yeah. So probably the biggest thing that is the main theme of what I've experienced through these months is understanding how important people are. People are crucial. I'm not a misandrist like I hate people, people are terrible, blah blah. But I used to be a lone wolf. I said this also in the previous interview. I was a lone wolf. Of course, I had friends, I have acquaintances, I had social life, I had some fun, etc. But I always felt to some degree alone, like in a room filled with people. I felt alone. I felt not understood by people, and I felt like people were asleep. Basically, I couldn't talk to people about a lot of stuff, so I felt very alone in that. And and that is probably the most precious thing the real world gave me, is just a community of people who literally think like me and who are as driven, if not in the beginning even more driven than me. And that was crazy, because I was always used to being the guy who was crazy, always wanted to do a lot of things, etc. In the real world I met like people who are even crazier. So that surprised me. And in the real world I started to understand, maybe people matter more than I thought, because I was a lone wolf, not necessarily by choice, but I was kind of forced to be a lone wolf. And maybe during time, I kind of maybe believed that after all, maybe people are not that important. And I couldn't be more wrong, because it's absolutely incorrect. Now I know for a fact that people are crucial, not just random people on the street, obviously, but the right people. The right people are so important, man. And the real world, taught me that in the beginning, but coming to Thailand, living with my bros really taught me this. For instance, my bros are guys I've talked in the real world. I did shared some insights. Maybe I had a prospect, I had a client that said, "Hey, maybe you can take care of this," blah blah. Like we shared, we talked, we collaborated, etc. In the real world. Eventually, we had so many different group calls, the Sunday calls. I remember we had a lot of Sunday calls together, and they were supposed to be only about business, and in the end we were obviously talking shit, talking, having fun, and discussing many things. Of course in the beginning was professional, but and the after hours it went a little bit astray. And I remember one call in specific in which it lasted, I kid you not, 8 hours. Insane. It's as if my whole life I never spoke to people for my whole life. Of course I was speaking, but I wasn't really speaking. I wasn't truly honest about who I am, what I want. And in that specific call, I just let it all out and say, yeah, I want to conquer Earth, I want to be the best man alive. It's like I shared things that I couldn't say to normal people. They will think I'm a loony or whatever. So they wouldn't even understand what I'm saying. Like they will hear gibberish. Like, what? You're gonna be a multi-billionaire? Blah, blah, blah. What are you talking about? So I could speak about every topic, even religion, everything with these guys. And eventually the bond was so strong that we said, fuck it, let's just come to Thailand, live together, and conquer Earth together. And here we are. And that's like when we came here, when we lived together, that is when I truly realized that people are crucial, and not only for my bros, also because when we joined forces, when we joined when we pulled all our resources together, or our know-how together, and we started to actually work together, like completely, like brothers, like a tribe, like a clan, and try to conquer Earth genuinely, then we realized, man, conquering Earth is not that easy. It's challenging. So realize that we need even more people. Like, we, of course, are killers. We are G's, all of us. But the things we're trying to accomplish are very ambitious, and we will definitely need more and more people. And that actually is a business. There's hiring, there's networking, etc. And we realize this, that we need more people. We need to combine forces if we really want to achieve what we want to achieve. So that is one thing, the main theme of these months. Like, me realizing more and more that people are crucial, not just for just enjoying them and sharing, but also to get on a mission together and accomplish something big. So I realized this big thing. Yeah.
Now that you've been saying this, what if this is the exact conclusion the Taste came up with, and that's why they created the real world, to have that huge amount of people, help them level up, and then have again, like basically a billion people. I'm sure the real world will grow to millions of people at some point. So having millions of
Mm-hmm.
people who you've helped develop them into strong human beings, isn't strong masculine or feminine role models in their community, help them with finances through being able to monetize the skill sets they learn. So yeah, that's you're basically building an army at that point, but not an army that you go to physical war with, but it's more of a spiritual war. I guess maybe that's how you say it. And in your case, you're saying world conquest, and again, you need people as well. So now you're building your own community for that as well on a different scale. So it's quite interesting
Yeah.
again how all of that comes together, and it's definitely something I grew with from for a while now. I've seen it like that as well. I don't really care about money as much as
Mm,
in the number one thing for me is relationships with the right
mm,
people, as you were saying, because it's something money cannot buy, and
1 million
there's
percent.
so much purpose you get from being around those people. It's again, it's with money. It's sure it's nice. The materialistic things are nice, but it's not something that will give you fulfillment in life. But the right relationships with the right people, then that's how you will live a fulfilling life. So yeah, again, it's something money can't buy, and when you meet those people, it's such a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
So yeah.
100%, bro. 100%, man. Like, money is the life and blood of a business, of course. So I will not say I don't care about money. No, this
It's
is
the
not the case.
second the most important thing. Relationships is the first, and then money.
Of
Obviously, still
course,
very important. Yes.
of course, of course. And yeah, man, like, but you just realize, I don't want to get philosophical, but you realize that everything is people. Of course, the world is
It
filled with
is. Yeah.
people. The world is not money. Like, like a government is as a bunch of people. Like, a business is a bunch of people. Like, everything is a bunch of people talking, interacting, and doing stuff. Of course. So if you want to do anything that is significant, you're gonna need a bunch of people and the right people. So yeah, that is a lesson there. Yeah, man.
And you know what helps interacting with those people and building relationships with them? Sales. As you were saying at
Hmm.
the beginning, it's all correlated.
Hmm.
If you
Hmm.
want to build better relationships with people, you need to know what can you provide them, what can they provide
Hmm.
me in return. That's what a friendship is. I mean, people that, uh, mm, how would I say this? People who are in their comfort zone, they don't really care that much about conquest like we do. They surround themselves with any kind of people.
Hmm.
But and they think, friendship, he makes me laugh. That's good enough. I guess I just like spending time around him. But as Tate says, actual friendships are exchanges. What can you give that person? What can they give back to you? If there's only a one-sided exchange with the other person not giving anything back, then that's not a friendship you really want. And just to clarify, mentor mentee relationship obviously isn't quite that way because when you mentor someone at some point that mentee will be giving back to you, so it's more like an investment. So yeah, just
Hmm.
wanted to clarify that. But yeah, it's definitely people think it's maybe sounds weird, but there is kind of transaction involved there of value exchange.
Yeah.
But again, that's how the best friendships are formed, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, of course, saying framing it in that way, people might say, "Hey,
Yeah, exactly.
that's wrong." But if you think, yeah, relationships are a value exchange, whether you like it or not. This is the reality of life. You
Mhm.
either are aware of this because that little laugh, that friend, in those groups where people are happy with a laugh and drinking a beer and whatever, I have no problem with them, of course. But it's still a value exchange. Like laughing and humor requires work. There is an exchange of value, right? But I guess that value is in the eye of the beholder. And in my eyes, like a beer and laughter, of course, is cool. And of course, I appreciate it. Of course, I love to laugh with my bros 100%. However, most of the value I get out of them, I guess, is just power and energy in a good way. Because, for example, in my case, I can confidently say 1,000,000% that without my bros, I wouldn't be at the level I'm at right now. No universe I will be at the same level. Why? Because brotherhood accelerates. It's very simple. Would I be able to, go to China, the Shaolin Temple, blah blah, Thailand, blah blah, on my own? Maybe, but it will take more time, way more time, more resources, more time figuring out stuff, etc. When we pool our brain power together, my IQ is not 200 because I'm a genius, obviously. My IQ is not 200, but it's like 1,000 when we pool our brain power together. Like we are a super entity that is all about training, push-ups, fighting, all this stuff together. And that is the value I get out of this kind of community, of this brotherhood I have. That is the value. And of course, a nice aspect of this value exchange that sounds so robotic and not human is the laughter, is actually loving your brother, etc., actually caring about them
Mhm.
genuinely. Of course, not like, okay, you give me this and you give no. It's a genuine relationship, but you must be aware that, as you said, if there's no reciprocity, or if in general, like the value you get out of the other person doesn't really match the value you're giving, you're providing, then it doesn't really make sense to hang out around those kind of people, right? And yeah,
Mhm.
it's life, my friend. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then this is more, I guess, me giving advice to my younger self.
Mm.
When you do want to be around people like what you're speaking about, those type of people, it's
Mm.
important to have a mindset that's clear of negativity. So you don't
Yeah.
want to be um, self-abusing. How would I say? I can't think of the right way of saying it. But if you're being negative in your language when you're around those type of people,
Mm.
they pick you up
Mm-hmm.
so much, and they just don't want to be around you. And that's something that happens usually when you're at that level of just a normal person. Then so many people around you are self-deprecating, and you think it's
Mm-hmm.
normal. But when you
Yeah.
are self-deprecating around high performers, then it's like, they can't be around you because they understand the power that words have, how much impact they have on you and everything. So just make sure if you are trying to network with people you respect, that there's positivity there. You're not exuding any type of negativity, whether it's about yourself or other people. And yeah,
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
random rant there.
No, it's not a random, bro. That is so true. Like in this house, like we don't really have a rule about this, but it just happens that if something even remotely negative is about to be said or shared, you're not gonna get out of that alive, man. Like they're gonna eat you alive. Like they we don't allow like we really check on each other all the time, like for everything, like even to maintain our word. If we say one thing, you better do it. You better do it, my friend. You
Mhm.
cannot like bail out of your own word, right? Your word is sacred. So Yeah, like in this house, there's no room for negativity unless it's a joke. Oh, you're a
Right,
loser.
right, right, right.
And
Of
we
course.
and we pick on each other, of course. But actual negativity, you wouldn't survive in this house. You
Yep.
wouldn't survive in this house. Me personally, just to give you an example, because maybe you hear these things and you say, oh, yeah, abstract ideas, yeah, sounds cool, negativity, positivity, energy, whatever. But like to give you a concrete example, for example, yesterday I didn't have a great day because I I had to let go a lovely lady. I had to let her go, and because whatever, when you're trying to do big things, sometimes people who are genuinely nice, genuinely sweet, even there's some circumstances that don't allow you to really continue the relationship, etc. So you have to let them go, and it sucks. Obviously, I'm not a robot. I'm a human. I have emotions. So of course I wasn't like smiling. I was like, damn it. And so yeah, I will. My bro saw me, going through that and saying goodbye to a girl, and I then walked downstairs to my room and was doing push-ups because, the, yeah. By the way, side note: in the temple, even in the temple, they said it. When you're going through tough times emotionally, you have to do work. You have to use your body. You have to, like, you cannot like meditate or think or contemplate. That's suicide. Don't do that. That's dangerous. Don't be in your head. Like, get out of your head. Like, do push-ups, go for a run, do something that's really demanding physically. And that's what I did. I was doing push-ups in that moment. My bro Sad knocks on my door and say, hey bro, how are you doing, man? And I said, yeah, I'm doing push-ups. And he said, want to spar? And I said, sure, let's go. So we sparred for, we had no time. Like normally you spar for certain minutes, right? We had no time. We just sparred for like my t-shirt was drenched, like completely drenched. Like we sparred for I don't know how long, for a lot of time. I was like, I was tired, right? I was very tired, but obviously I was keep going. I'm not a wuss, so I kept going. And even if I got on my knees for a second, I could get up immediately and kept fighting, etc. Just to get out of my head. And almost in a sadistic way, my bro showed love and also showed that he didn't allow in this house room for negativity, especially in my head, negative emotions of just sadness. So he said, instead, let's fucking spar instead. And after we spar, obviously, what do? We run uphill and downhill, uphill and downhill for a little bit. Then obviously we do push-ups, like clapping our hands, like, okay, boom, boom, like push-up. Of course we do push-ups. And what do? Of course we do. We take elastics and we do some curls, of course. Like, and we trained for the whole night. I don't even know how much long, but I was drenched in sweat. I don't know how long I trained. I already trained in the morning, so I was, yeah, it was a very nice session, a very interesting and demanding training session. But there was no negativity, like dark negative emotions in my mind because I couldn't afford to have them. I had like a 110-kilogram dude trying to punch me in the face, so I had to, yeah, I had to think about something else. So that's the thing. That is in this house, like, it is absolutely true. Of course, in high level networking, is true as well with high performance dudes. It's 100% real. But also, if you live with those motherfuckers, with those high performance, if you actually live with them, then of course there's no room for negativity. He didn't punch me in the face, like, and knock me in the room and punch me in the face like randomly, but he said, let's go and spar, brother. And we did that, and that obviously helped me, and I'm truly grateful about that. That's the thing, man. Like, without the real, this is insane. Without the real world, I would never have met these people. I thought these people were kind of like, you met these people in movies, maybe you hear about the Tates, like, oh, I would like to have that kind of brotherhood. You hear about some other stories, and yeah, it would be nice, but this is real life, and this is crazy. It all started with the real world. It all started with some chatter on online, etc. And here we are. So this is a testament to the fact that absolutely it's true. There's no room for negativity when you're dealing with high performers and when you're networking with people and when you're dealing with people who are trying to accomplish something big. 100%. There's no room for negativity. Zero.
Beautiful. What a story. Thank you for that.
No worries.
How different would you say your average day is now then compared to 6 months ago? Are there any noticeable changes you can speak about?
Well, I can say that I take training much more seriously. Not in terms of like some specific, whatever weird name, routine, whatever. In general training, I take it much more seriously because it is kind of a mindset shift to realize that training is work, is part of work. Like it took me a while to actually understand it. Of course, you can hear it somewhere and say, yeah, training is work, whatever. But now I understand that training is indeed work. Like when you're trying to do something, especially if it requires like your brain or whatever, if you're sitting on, you know, sitting down on your laptop, etc., just working on the laptop for hours and hours on end, like even your idea is gonna be crap. Like your energy level is gonna be crap. You're not gonna be fired up all the time. Like training is actually crucial. Sleep also is crucial. There's so many different things that I didn't think were related to necessarily directly related to work that actually are. Eating, like everything is related to work because this is kind of a mindset shift, and I can still make it. I guess this happened in the real world because when you start and you venture into the campuses, of course you get a lot of knowledge, you get a lot of insights, etc., lessons, whatever. But there's also something that you really need to understand that is crucial. You used to work and exchange basically your life, your time, etc., just to clock in and whatever. And that was income, that was survival. In the real world, they actually teach you that you're no longer relying on someone else to give you necessarily money. Now you are the cash machine, literally. Like you bring in the cash. Your performance, your income, etc. It's based purely on your performance. It's purely performance based. So that is a big mindset shift. And if that is the case, if I am the cash machine, then I must treat this machine very well. I need to sleep properly. I need to eat properly. I need to train properly. I need to have the right mindset all the time, the right environment. I must have all of those at the same time because I am the cash machine. So I must treat myself in the best way possible, not by eating necessarily caviar and blah, 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 but actually building like a machine that is made for war, for performance, for high level performance, for a lot of output. Basically, I need to build this thing. And yeah, I realized that training, as I said before, was a big part of it. So I suppose I take more seriously training. I take much more seriously my nutrition. I'm not perfect on neither of those. On both, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning a lot. I'm still improving, of course. But yeah, now this is a big mindset shift that yeah, I need to take care of everything in my life, even relationships and with everybody, with even my family, is in some way work because it affects me, it affects my psyche, it affects my well-being. Everything is work in life, and that is a big mindset shift that I heard about here and there, but now I'm really understanding it because I see that if I have a low mojo one day, that affects my business. Like literally, like I see the ripples of that through time. Like, oh, that day I had a bad day. Yeah, I noticed that. Like I cannot. I must be at operating with a high performance, like kind of level all the time. Like I must take myself in all my components in all the realms like very seriously. And that was a big mindset shift, I suppose.
Right. So thank you for that perspective. Very interesting.
Mhm.
And what do you say to people who might think that's excessive, not giving yourself any time to quote unquote relax?
Well, my friend, my Cheeto eating, Netflix binging friend, what is relaxing? Genuinely, what is relaxing? What do you mean by relax? What is relax? Is it relax? You're sitting down, getting a bunch of pixels into your eyes. To me, that is kind of work. Like you're watching a thing for hours, you're trying to be careful about it, blah, blah, blah. That is in some degree work. There's no real pure stasis. Like there's no real pure rest. What can you do? Like meditate. Even meditating and standing still is work because you need to not think of anything, blah, blah. I don't understand this concept of relax. Of course, you need some sort of time to recharge your batteries, like maybe having a like this kind of conversation. I view it as work because I there's so many things that it's helping me with. Like I talk to another human being I like. I get to train my I guess my social skills. Like this is work, right? But when you have that kind of mindset shift, Cheeto eating friend, you realize that watching Netflix is not real relaxation. It's not really relaxing your brain too much, especially if you're trying to accomplish something big. Because if I were watching Netflix, I would be stressed out the whole time. Like I would watch my phone, I would watch my watch, etc. Like that I don't have obviously, but I would be like alert. I'll be uneasy, right? I'll feel weird, and I couldn't enjoy watching that. I suppose that that relaxation depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Of course, if you're not trying to accomplish anything in life and you just want to whatever clock in, there's no shame on that. You want to clock in and your life is just a job that you don't really like, and whatever, a wage you cannot really increase, maybe 10% in 5 years, maybe, I don't know. Like if that is the kind of existence you want, no shame in that. I guess that you could relax by watching whatever, Charlie's Angels, I don't know what you're watching. But if you're trying to accomplish something big, if you're trying to be actually financially independent, and even more than that, if you're trying to become actually rich, a multimillionaire, then you realize that you need to change your perspective. Instead of relaxing by watching Netflix, maybe you can relax by listening to, I don't know, sales call with clients you had. That could be relaxing. Like it is low effort. You're just sitting down and listening. There's so many different things. Literally training and doing a low intensity thing could be relaxing, like going for a nice run in the sunset. In my book, that's relaxed. Like that is relaxing. Like who doesn't like that? Like a nice cool sunset. Yeah, that's a minute in which I can 10, 20, whatever minutes in which I can just relax my brain. Like it depends on how you view relaxation. Of course, I relax, I suppose, because I even see relax as work. But I relax simply in a different way. I don't watch Netflix, my friend. So yeah, Cheeto eating friend. The only thing I advise you to do is just to understand what are your goals, what you're trying to accomplish. And if this thing is ambitious, if this thing will require a lot of work, then you need to plan your relaxation. You need to understand what could be a good way to relax, a productive way to relax, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. And there you go. There's the mindset of a high functioning, high operating individual.
Yeah. I hope I
Perfect.
didn't offend any guys who's eating Cheetos. Didn't want to be like mean or whatever. Cheetos are great, so sorry if I offended you.
Yeah, I'm sure there's someone sitting on a couch right now eating Cheetos watching this interview.
Yeah,
100%.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Okay. So through all this work that you're putting in, this empire that you're building,
Hmm.
What relationships has that led to? So you have one with Shaolin, the Shaolin monk temple, Shaolin Temple.
Hmm. Yeah.
Then what other, let's say, high profile individuals has that given you access to?
Well, I cannot disclose some people, of course, but very recently, through like a fortuitous interview from the Sartorial shooter from one of my bros, we actually managed to see him in real life. It was a very nice experience. And yeah, so it's interesting how, and I think that this even begun because my bro Bellman was talking about the Shaolin Temple, and Sartorials was very like, oh, that's interesting, yeah, cool. So we gotta meet, we gotta talk about this, etc. And that happened. I think even 2 days ago, crazy. And we met him and had a chat with him. It was a very interesting experience. So yeah, that is the thing. When you try to accomplish one thing and you are working very hard on one specific thing, you end up also doing interesting side missions as well. And that was one heck of a side mission. It was very interesting. So yeah, one big door opens many small ones, I suppose. So it was very interesting.
Mhm. Very interesting indeed. So you got
Yeah.
to meet Sartorial with everyone else
Hmm.
because the yeah into Bellman. Interesting how things come around and that happens.
Yeah.
And what was that experience like? Is there any more to go into that?
Well, first of all, the guy is tall. No, I'm joking. But it is true. He's tall, but he's not super tall, because I thought he was like super like crazy tall. I'm pretty tall myself. So I was like, okay, you're tall, but you're not like frighteningly tall. Good. That's the first thing. Great. But apart from that, of course, jokes aside, it was a very interesting experience to just to meet someone that you saw all the time online and actually talk with them, interact with them, talk about the world, what you're trying to accomplish, etc. Together was just an interesting social skill experiment, networking experiment. It was very, very interesting.
Mhm.
And just to interact with somebody who's operating on a very high level, it's refreshing. And that is the thing. You don't really need necessarily to go through all the time. Like there are like some courses about how to network with high level individuals, of course, and they teach you a lot of super useful stuff. But I think that you also pick up a lot from actually going there and actually interacting with those people. I learned a lot of things, not only just information based things like this knowledge, that knowledge, but also just how the mind, to some degree, I experienced the mindset of a killer, and it was interesting. It was very
Mhm.
cool to see in real time. So yeah, it was a very nice experience. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that.
Good. And something to add from my end, it's also interesting just how much access you can get to those high value people just
Hmm.
by being a positively genuine human being.
Hmm.
Because I'm sure, yeah, that's how you and Bellman, Sarge, Nikolai, I'm sure you're all just genuine human beings striving to be positive forces in the world. And I think
Hmm.
it comes across when you meet other people, then you make a good impression on them, and then that leads to you meeting with them. Then from there, you maybe they connect you with other people as well, and then yeah, it just becomes a chain like that. So it's not even something too crazy that you need to do as long as you're hardworking, especially in your
Hmm.
20s. Hardworking, head down, doing everything that you need to do. I mean, and just being a genuine human being, then that's all you really need to basically succeed in your life as long as you're willing to put in that work. It's not some kind of really complicated formula. That's what I've seen.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
100%, man. 100%. Like if a kid from Italy like me who didn't know exactly what to do exactly, like a couple of months ago, I really didn't know what to do with my life. If a kid can do what I've done, like You can do that as well. Like,
Mhm.
I don't see how someone cannot succeed if they're just willing to work hard, have a strong handshake and a good mindset. How can you not succeed and never give up? Like, how's that even possible? Of course you're going to succeed. So it's very simple.
Mhm.
It's very simple. It reminds me. It reminds me. Of course, I'm gonna quote a very ancient story that is very well known and that people respect a lot. Kung Fu Panda. So in Kung Fu Panda, of course, the main character Po was trying to understand why did this master, this tortoise, whatever, this turtle, thinks that I'm the dragon warrior. Why? What is my trait? Why am I special? And he learns that there's no reason. It's just him. It's just him. And that is the thing. Kung Fu Panda teaches you that there's no real secret. It's just you working hard, learning, never giving up. That's all you need to succeed. It's very simple, man.
Mhm. And having the right guidance is a huge contributor to getting you in the right direction. So in this case, the real
Mm-hmm.
world, it gives you a direction. And if you're willing to put in the work, look at where you can get. You're a prime example of it.
Yep. 100%, man. Guidance and especially community, man. Community, like people who actually are doing exactly what you are doing every day. Like you're going to war, you're in the trenches, and you have brothers around you. They will be online, of course, but you feel them, you talk to them every day. And oh, he makes money, he made money, I'll make money too. And that's what happens. And so that's the thing. You're all in the trenches, you're all working together, and you're all running towards success. And that is so cool, man. That is so cool, and that is how everything started. So 100%. I owe everything. I owe everything I have, everything I have accomplished to the real world, to Tate and the real world. And I couldn't be happier than now. Like it's crazy. Like it all started like months and months ago, a year ago, I think. I don't even I don't take track of time. I don't care of what's going on, like how much my life is changing. I'm just acting and working all the time. I don't really think in retrospect, whatever. But if I were to do that, that's insane. Like how it all started and what's going on right now. And I owe everything 100% to the real world. It gave me it gave me the community I was always looking for. And that is tremendous. That is invaluable. Like that is priceless. There's no price tag on it. So I'm deeply grateful for the real world and what it offered to me. So I'm so happy, man. It's crazy.
Cool. Love that. And now, since you're on this trajectory, could you give us a breakdown of what plans do you have for short term, medium term, and long term?
Good question, man. Well, right now, as I said in the beginning, the most important thing I'm focusing on is people, finding the right people and conquering Earth together. So I guess short term, medium term, and even long term, man. Like I think it's gonna be a problem forever. Problem or just a thing that I will deal with forever is always getting more and more people and convincing them to work together. Like, hey guys, we want to conquer the world. Do you want to do it with us? Cool, let's go. Like I need to do this for the rest of my life, I suppose. And that is a cool problem to have. And yeah, this is what is looking like scaling and getting more people involved and building and building and building, man. Just yeah, it's world conquest, literally world conquest, man. So yeah, I suppose that is the next big goal is getting more and more killers in our team. That is the big goal.
And that's what so many people are looking for as well. So if the
Yep.
person listening, if you just again become a hard worker who's a genuine person, you're a very highly sought after type of worker. And I mean just individual. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
quite rare to find in this world. And as you're saying, it will be a problem or a quote unquote problem that you'll be facing, like trying to find those kind of people to work with because they're so
Yeah.
rare. So yeah. Again,
Yeah,
there's no
man.
magic formula. It's just hard work and
Yeah, man.
right guidance. Okay. So yeah, Fed, thank you. It's been 1 hour. That was
Really?
yeah, it's been 1 hour.
Wow.
I love that. I
Crazy.
love listening to all those stories or everything that's happened to you these past 6 months. Hopefully
Hmm.
next one, not hopefully. Why did I just use the word hopefully?
Yeah, why? What's wrong with you,
We'll
man?
do the next interview in 3 months to do a catch up. This time not 6 months. Let's do a bit of a shorter time frame. Because you're going so fast with everything, it would be we could have had this conversation
Yeah.
for several hours. I had to not ask a few questions because yeah, otherwise it would just go too far.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's do a bit shorter intervals this time. About every 3 months should be a good amount of progress updates. And
Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
for my final question, I don't know if I
Hmm.
asked this last time. If I have, just repeat it again, or if you have a different answer, say it. For people who are still unsure about joining the real world because they think, what if I'm getting scammed for $50? What advice would you have for them?
First of all, the first thing I would say is listen to yourself. Like, does that even make sense, my friend? Like, what if I get scammed for $50? If I were to ask you $10,000, okay, like be careful, but for $50, so yeah, scam and $50 doesn't make any sense. That's the main thing. And second thing is just look at the endless stories. Of course, my story is the best one. We all know that. We all agree. Sure. But there's also a bunch of guys who told their stories. Like, look at their stories. It's all around. Like, there's so many different testimonies. There's so many different success stories. Of course, this works. And of course, this is the best thing ever on earth. And I'm so grateful about this. So, what are you doing? Like, just join, my friend. Just join. Like, go for it, man, and make money, succeed, have fun. It will take work, my friend. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It will take work, but it will be the best decision of your entire life, and that I can promise, my friend. So join. That's
Awesome.
easy.
Very well put. And now, for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
They can do on Instagram because I have the best handle on earth. My handle is that Federico.
Got it.
So you can find me there.
Okay, we'll add it to the description of the video. And yeah,
Perfect.
Federico, I look forward to that follow up interview.
Yeah,
And
bro.
again, thank you very much for all these insights. It's amazing to hear just how far you're coming in such a short
Mhm.
period of time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure next one will be crazy as well. And until then, I wish you all the best.
Hmm. Well, thank you for having me, my friend.